Hello, everyone. Welcome to Double Take Sports Podcast. My name is Angelo,
And I'm David.
and we are here to talk about the 2026 March Madness. The tournament bracket just got announced last night. Some very, very interesting developments, especially in the conference championships. We got Purdue, the Big Ten champ. What do you think about that?
It's a good question. They definitely shot really well. They showed when Michigan's not shooting well, then they struggle in games. They usually come back and win those games, but unfortunately, for us last night, Purdue took that win.
So, going into the bracket, we have some interesting things. We're going to start off in the East section. We have Duke. Duke plays 16 seed. That's free. I mean, Ohio State, TCU, St. John's, Northern Iowa, Kansas, Cal Baptist, Louisville, South Florida. Some interesting games there. I think St. John's and Kansas can both be easily upset. To be honest, that's my number one 12 seed, my number one 13 seed,
It,
going
it,
up against fraudulent teams. What do you think?
it depends on which Kansas team shows up. It really does. They have the storied tradition, but they certainly have struggled this year at times. And they could easily get bounced in the first round. So we'll see how it goes. Duke again missing a couple of vital players, but they should get past. I would say definitely get past the opening weekend, and looking forward to the following week for them.
So, speaking of Duke, people are thinking that they are a shoe-in for the Elite Eight, if not the Final Four, if not the national championship. They have a couple injuries on their team right now. Do you think that affects their chances?
I think it affects their chances. Like I said, I don't think it's going to affect them in the first weekend, and hopefully they can get their guys back and for in time for the second round, or sorry, the third and fourth round. Um, I want to see a completely healthy Duke competing in this tournament. Whether we get that or not is remains to be seen.
I thoroughly agree. I think they could honestly. I think they could get upset by the winner of Ohio State TCU. I'm a big fan of both those teams. That could be a good matchup, especially if they're shorthanded in that game. Also, you got the two UConn and the three Michigan State. Those are both obviously tough teams. Very storied franchises as well. All three of them. Who do you got coming out of this bracket?
It has to be Duke. I don't believe in Michigan State. So for those of you that are listening to this podcast, we're just across from the state of Michigan, so we pay attention to Michigan State, and Michigan State has not shown me a lot this year in big games. So I don't see them getting to the Elite Eight. I see them actually losing in the round of 16.
To be completely honest with you, I'm of the opposite standpoint. I think Michigan State can beat Duke. I believe in Tom Izzo. I believe in their defense. They're very strong defense. I think if Duke and UConn make it to that Elite Eight, Sweet 16, I think Michigan State has the definite ability to take them down. I will pick the three seed to move on.
Oh boy. Okay.
So moving on to our next quadrant, we have in the South, Florida against their 16 seed, Clemson, Iowa. That's going to be an interesting quadrant there. Some interesting things to look out for: Vanderbilt, Nebraska, Illinois, Houston. All great teams, all tough teams. Vanderbilt making it to the SEC tournament final. You also have North Carolina, who lost Caleb Wilson, top five pick this year. Obviously, we talked about Duke's injuries, but I think that's the biggest one. You have, the heart and soul of that team. Their best player lost. How far do you think North Carolina could advance with that shorthand?
I don't believe in North Carolina. I honestly don't. I've seen them get exposed this year against the better teams. They struggle. I think that this, to me, is the most competitive region, given Nebraska, Iowa, Vanderbilt had just made it to the SEC final. There's some really solid teams there, top 15 teams that throughout the year. And I mean, Nebraska was at a top five at one point in time, and they are a really, really good team. If they catch fire, they could definitely find themselves in the Elite Eight, Final Four. So can Vanderbilt, I believe. Iowa is a great team. They can catch fire if they start shooting their threes and hitting them. Then anything could happen with this region for
So
me.
you think Iowa has a shot to beat Florida in that
I do.
round of
I do.
32?
I think anybody has a shot to beat
Yeah,
anybody in this
yeah.
in this region. That's the whole thing. I do believe that Florida will beat Iowa, but it's it's tough to see who's going to come out of this region.
For sure. You look at, some great upset candidates. You have VCU playing North Carolina, the number 11th seed. That's a big one everybody's talking about, the Atlantic 10 champions. Who do you think is going to move on from this side of the bracket?
I think I picked Florida only because they are the most well-rounded team, and I believe that they will come out of this. And it's interesting because I think everyone's going to beat each other up by the time they get to that point. So whoever comes out of there is going to have a tough time moving forward past that.
I agree. I don't think, to me, I think Florida's like third or fourth most likely to move on here, even though they're the number one. You have the strongest two seed in Houston, the strongest three in Illinois, in my eyes. I don't have any of them. I have Vanderbilt, a team that just beat Florida in the SEC tournament.
Not
Not just beat.
nah, they did not just beat them; they destroyed them.
Yeah, for sure. I think Vanderbilt will beat Florida, will beat, whoever comes out of Illinois, Houston, and we'll move on to the Final Four.
I don't disagree.
Moving on to the West, this to me is the toughest one. You have the one seed, Arizona. Uh, a few good teams. We'll just go over the major ones. You have Wisconsin, Arkansas, BYU, Gonzaga, and Purdue, all in the same region.
Yeah, that's a really strong region. I still don't believe in Gonzaga. Year after year, they have that incredible record. You're usually around 29, 30 wins, and then they don't do a lot in the tournament. Now, there has been times where they have, obviously, but in the last maybe 10 years, they've struggled to get out of the round of 32, the round of 16. So I don't really see Gonzaga advancing. I do love, the other teams that you mentioned, especially out of the Big Ten. I think the Big Ten is absolutely solid this year, and hopefully they can represent themselves well.
I thoroughly agree with you. Honestly, I think, and again, I've said this the past two, but I'm just repeating myself here. Anything can happen. You have a solid High Point team who's the 12th seed. That's what most people are looking at. A 30-4 record this year.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing Wisconsin. Wisconsin can be a bracket buster. So can High Point, and definitely so can BYU. When they catch fire, they have AJ DeBonta leading them. They are a phenomenal team. So, who do you think can make it out of this side of the bracket?
Honestly, I do believe I picked Wisconsin to come out of this region
Wow.
because of their guard play, because of their giant killers. They beat Michigan, Michigan State, Purdue. You know, they gave Michigan one of their losses this year, and it's a close game, and they absolutely showed out, and I believe they can make it.
I see Wisconsin as being this team that is very, very inconsistent. I think they're going to lose in the round of 64. I think they're
Ooh.
losing to a High Point because they have a bunch of great wins. They're a giant destroyer, but they've also had some bad losses. I think if Wisconsin makes it to Arizona, I think they can beat Arizona. But if they don't, Arizona's moving on.
Okay, fair.
Looking at our bottom right section, the Midwest, we have the great team of Michigan, the number one seed. You also have Iowa State, Virginia, Alabama, Texas Tech, Tennessee, and a big one here, Kentucky. Do you think what's Kentucky up to this year?
I don't know what Kentucky's identity is, to be honest. I again, they've struggled in a few of the bigger games this year. I really, really like Virginia. Virginia gave Duke a scare in the ACC championship, I think losing by 6, and it was actually closer than that. Um, but you know who my pick is out of
Yeah,
this region.
yeah. I don't disagree with that one, but we're gonna have a little discussion, a little sidetrack about a team in the first four of this region. Do you think Miami, Ohio deserves to be in that first four?
I believe that they deserve to be in the first four. I think
Yeah.
they were placed correctly. They have a chance to play themselves into this tournament. We'll see what they have.
Honestly, do you think they deserved a 10 seed? Like, do you think they had one loss on the season? Is that enough to get them out of the first four to you?
No, I think they're appropriately placed only because of their strength of schedule.
Yeah.
They didn't play anybody this year. They honestly didn't, and they struggled in a few games here and there where other teams beat those teams by 30, 20. So I think they're appropriately placed. If they make it past the first four, then they absolutely deserve to be in. Obviously,
For sure, I agree with you. So now looking at that Final Four, who do you have moving on to your national championship?
I have definitely Michigan, and I believe I have Duke going into the final. Um, I definitely can see Wisconsin getting there if they didn't play Duke earlier on. I believe in the Sweet 16, somewhere around there. Um, I don't know. I see Michigan. I hope Michigan wins. I think they have what it takes. Uh, Losing number three, Kazan, is it Kazan that was injured a couple weeks ago?
I forget. It was somebody.
Yeah, it was
Somebody got
somebody.
injured. Yeah, somebody major.
One of their guards. That's a big deal for them. But and especially they kind of got exposed against Purdue. Their shooting is so hot and cold.
Yeah.
You and I have gone and watched two of their games. They dominated Villanova. Didn't have any issues with them, but we saw them struggle against Nebraska in their shooting, in their 3-point shooting. If they can't get that on track, then they could find themselves out early.
Yeah, I don't disagree. For me, it's Arizona, Michigan State. I have Arizona winning that, and to me, I think the winner of the inevitable Arizona Michigan Final Four will end up winning this national championship. I think those by far your two best teams. I don't like Duke as much as the average guy. I think their all freshman lineup isn't enough to take down a team of juniors and seniors, especially in this Final Four standpoint. It is very rare to see a first overall pick, a top five guy, be winning these types of tournaments. So I think that Duke is a team that I can see going down early. That's why I don't have them projected to make it to this national championship. Um, Now, what do you think? What is your personal dark horse to win this tournament? I think you've alluded to them on multiple occasions, so I'll give you.
Are you talking
I'm
Wisconsin?
talking Wisconsin.
Yeah, I that's my dark horse to win this tournament. I like I said, I really like their guard play. Older guys, composed. They've shown a ton of composure late in games against big time teams, like Michigan, like Michigan State, like Purdue. They've really, when times get tough late in games, they kind of take over, and I think that obviously translates to a tournament style one and done kind of atmosphere. What about
Yeah,
you? What about you?
I can see Wisconsin, but I personally have written down Vanderbilt. I talked about them making it to the Final Four. I think they played great against Tennessee.
They looked good, yeah.
They looked phenomenal in this SEC tournament. So did Arkansas. I think Arkansas obviously can make it far. But I personally say Vanderbilt. So one more question for you. I've looked at your bracket. You don't have very many double-digit seed upsets.
Right.
Why is that?
I think there's a lot of. I think there's obviously a tier here. I think you have your top teams, and that includes the Purdue's, the Illinois, the Wisconsins, the Vanderbilts, the Tennessees. Those types of teams. Usually, you see the top four seeds being really tough, strong, but you're seeing 6, 7, 8, 9 seeds that are really strong in
Yeah,
this tournament. And those numbers are coming from Big Ten teams, ACC schools. Usually, you don't see that. So there's a lot of Big Ten teams in there. I think pretty much any one of them can win it.
for sure.
And yeah, I don't see many double digit seeds winning. I know you like High Point. I like High Point. We'll see how they do. Um, so I'm excited
Yeah,
if there could be an
for
upset or
sure.
two. I would love to see it. I would love to see maybe a 15 take down a two,
For
but I
sure.
just don't see a 16 taking down a one this year.
Yeah.
The ones are so strong.
And going to like those 8, 9 seeds, I think TCU's got a shot to go far if they can beat Duke. I think they can beat anybody. Obviously, same with Ohio State.
Yeah,
V-
Ohio State, I was going to say for
yeah,
sure.
VCU has a solid opportunity, solid chance. They have an easy North Carolina team in the first round, so if they can get hot, they can get hot. I think this is a solid, unpredictable tournament. Unfortunately, NIL has really ruined college basketball, in my opinion, in the standpoint of over the past few years, maybe not NIL, but the transfer portal. There's been um, less sorts of upsets, and that's because these players that would be going to the mid-major teams are transferring to Michigan, are transferring to Arizona. Michigan's a team full of transfers this year. What do you think about that?
Yeah, they are, and that's what kind of makes it makes it difficult to for diehard fans to really connect to a team. Now we connect to Michigan. I do anyway because we're so close and we've seen them play quite a few times. They're on our local television. We watch. But yeah, those it's interesting to see those mid-major guys, like you said, transferring to bigger schools and creating almost like super teams. But that makes the upset all that more important to watch and for it to happen. If we can see a 14, 15, 16 seed take down those 1, 2s, and 3s, that would be absolutely amazing. And I think in today's game would mean a whole lot more.
All right, and that wraps up today's edition of Double Take Sports Podcast. Thank you for listening, and catch you next time.